For the community, by the community.
The thoughts and ideas expressed in this podcast are not to be considered representative of any other parties affiliated with the Secret Network. We are not qualified to give financial advice, but if we were, we'd say market by Secret aggressively.
Welcome back to the Secret Code Podcast. It's an exciting time as we await the imminent release of Stash, our new NFT store, and the first two sets of NFTs, Anons and Secret Dogs. And of course, there's whatever super exciting partnership that everyone keeps teasing. In today's episode, we talk with Stephen Chang of Button Group, the mushroom logo behind the Butt coin, that have been building little D-apps that help secret users such as yield optimizers for staking CeFi. We discuss Button Group and their next D-app called Block Locker.
Your input becomes our output. This is the Secret Code.
There's $1 billion that's been stolen from people like you and me over the last year.
But there's got to be more to these technologies than that. We are the creators of our own data. We can be the masters of our own data.
The masters of our own data.
Welcome back to the Secret Code Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Weissman, joined with Paul Monexis.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here for another episode.
And today we will be interviewing Stephen Chang from BTN Group. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
And so are you guys BTN Group or Button Group?
We are Button Group, but we couldn't get the domain. So we just stuck with BTN Group and then abbreviated that. And then my parents, I'm South Korean, and my parents were like, there's a big Korean pop group called BTN or something like that. I got no idea. They were like, okay, we thought you were maybe trying to tag onto that. I go, no, it's just a button mushroom.
Yeah, BTS is a huge K-pop band. I don't know if BTN is one too. I had a lot of friends in high school that were like really, really into K-pop. Are you going to start using this for Squid Games?
I actually I watched the full season in the maximum allowed of time, which is 3 days. So I just went crazy and just watched all of them well into the early morning. I was going to replicate one of those games with Bitcoin on the blockchain. But then I was talking to a friend and we're like, you know what? Probably not the best idea to replicate a game based on a show where people are doing nasty things to each other. It's not really the most moral thing to do. So we bailed out of it.
It's like Game Theory meets Happy Tree Friends. I absolutely love it. my wife and I just, if you guys haven't heard of Happy Tree Friends, it's a very friendly children's show. You should definitely watch it with your little kids. Pretty animation. My wife and I just binged the whole season in 3 days. It was awesome. I love that kind of game theory stuff, even if it was kind of dark. In fact, the Wall Street's Bet subreddit is actively having a petition to get the guy who lost all of his money in futures betting added as an honorary member. So I'm really pulling for that. So we're a little bit sidetracked early, but Stephen, who are you? Why don't you go ahead and describe yourself to us?
I'm just a software developer based in Sydney, Australia. And right now running a little software company called Button Group. And we're specializing in blockchain technology.
Okay. And so when did you first get into crypto?
I've been using it off and on for a few years now, mainly just for utility purposes back in the day. But in the last couple of years, I've been getting really into it just because when the lockdowns and everything started happening in March, and then there was that big crash, I bought heavy and I kind of saw what was going on and just realized, you know what, this isn't looking good. And pretty much at any time, when in doubt, just buy Bitcoin. So I did it, and I just realized, you know what, I want to do this full time. After you watch enough episodes of Ivan on Tech, and eventually you just hand in that resignation letter to your boss and say, I'm going full-time crypto. I'm out of here.
I'm 1 month in full-time crypto now, and I absolutely love it. I was hoping I would be able to by the end of the year, but starting with this podcast and working into some higher positions, I've actually been able to make that switch. We're trying to get Paul to drop out of school right now so he can make that.
You got to do it.
It's the dream. Full-time crypto.
Yeah, but it's wonderful. I actually bought like at the absolute best day last year when Bitcoin dipped from 5,000 to 3,000. I had like an alert on my phone. I like ran to my computer and I was able to buy. It had gotten up back to like 4,200 before I was able to buy in. But I bought Bitcoin and Ethereum super heavy, and I was all stoked because I knew it was the bottom. While everyone else was like, "Oh, it's dead for real this time." I'm like, "It's not." But then like a month and a half later, I got furloughed and had to sell to keep my house. I'm like, damn it.
Oh my God. Hey, at least you still did pretty good out of it, because I remember that period. It was nuts.
There were big mining firms that were like taking their CPUs outside and like throwing them away because they were mining Bitcoin at a loss, and they're just capitulating. Like that's sad. It's crazy.
Steven, I actually wanted to follow up. So you've been involved within crypto for a couple of years. When did you first find out about Secret Network?
With Secret Network, I don't have any, like committee role or anything like that. We're just like an independent group, just creating apps and dApps. And that's really about the broad summary. Like, we've started off building those auditing tools just so people can really understand how everything works, and then really audit all of our smart contracts and everything. And now we're on to the building phase of dApps with our token utility. And we'll see what happens from here.
So is Secret the first blockchain that you started playing around with in terms of the technology? What drew you to Secret Network in the first place? Like, did the privacy catch your eye?
Yeah, it was 100% that privacy. I went down the typical path of crypto of going, first you do Bitcoin, and then you have a bit of a play around with Ethereum, and then, depending from there, the crypto.coms and whatever. And eventually I was just, Monero is great, but it's such an effort for people to set it up, and there's no smart contracts. So I had a look around and found Secret Network that was doing something quite unique. And then I found they had a course on Secret Network on Data Hub Figment. And from there, yeah.
Now, how was that course, and how much did you learn from it, and how prepared were you to start building on Secret Network after you finished it?
I originally have a Ruby on Rails background. It's not as fast because it does a lot of things for you. So it uses up more memory and more processing power. So I wasn't used to doing all those little more granular bits of code myself, like assigning types to variables and stuff like that. So it took me a little while to get my head around all of that. And then the course was decent, but, it wasn't like most of these courses. They don't really give you the full picture of how to, run one of these dApps and smart contracts on a full website. They just give you like a little piece of some code that you can run when you press some buttons on your computer, but it's not like hosting on a website and everything and how all of that works. So it took me like 30% of the way, and then the other 60, 70%, just like all other software, you just got to kind of grind it out, and eventually you have a few aha moments and it just works out.
I've been told it's a lot like going to school and then trying to get a job. Like, it helps give you some tools, but it's not at all going to give you the right kind of experience for it. But it's a good place to start. And so we're actually working on getting my buddy Paul here, as well as some of the other developers that some we've even reached out with contracts to as of today for Secret Swap to try to bring on as independent contractors. We're going to try to get them with the newly funded BizDev committee. Paid to start taking some of those classes. So if you're listening and you're a budding developer and you're interested in Secret Swap or you're a fan of the show, please do hit me up. And we are actively hiring people for Secret Swap. And if there's other things you want to work on, not only are we already building so many applications on Secret Network, but there's always room for more. We want it to be an expansive layer one. So please do get involved. And we have a BizDev committee now to specifically designed to help onboard you and get you placed with other groups to start building stuff. So I'm glad you're able to take that course and learn from it. And I'm obviously a huge fan of the stuff that you guys at Button Group are building.
Oh, thanks.
So tell me more about Button Group. Who's on your team? What have you guys done already? What are you guys planning to do?
So Button Group really started off with myself and Chris. We've had a few people come and go just because of what's been going on around the world. But right now, a few people have reached out to me to help out, and Lucy is one of these people. I've got my girlfriend Emily helping out with a bit of the Chinese translations. Some reason the Chinese community is taking to Bitcoin pretty well. So it's been pretty good on that aspect. so far we have, we had a specific development path. So first off, using the APIs through Data Hub, we created the smart contract interface. We really wanted to stick with and promote the core principles of blockchain. And one of the core things that's so great about blockchain is that it can be audited. Like people can't just print money and then, shred their emails and then say, oh, don't worry about it. Everyone should be able to look through and see what's going on to really verify. So first off, we created the smart contract interface so that people can query smart contracts, run functions against smart contracts and see if someone claims something that they can go and check it. We built a transactions page. We do want to spend a bit more time on that transactions page to go with an address alias that we had initially created, but right now we've kind of removed to improve it. Then we decided, we really need some funding, to just keep things rolling along. And that funding was a bit hard to come by. So we decided, you haven't really lived life unless you've launched your own token. So we launched Buttcoin. And then from there, we've done the yield optimizer for secret swap earn pools. And right now we are working on releasing a new dApp called Block Locker, hopefully in the next few days.
We will absolutely get back to Block Locker. A little bit about Buttcoin and running your own ICO. That is absolutely awesome. You ran your ICO accepting funding specifically in CeFi, which makes me automatically love you because I'm always trying to get utility for the CeFi token. But it really has been difficult as people create thousands of tokens every single day, most of them just with the purpose of trying to convince bots to try to buy them early as little exit liquidity, especially on Binance Smart Chain. And there are just so many of what's called shit coins that I wanted to get to the epicenter and get to the actual butt. So I'm very glad to find Buttcoin. And I love that it actually does have legitimate utility and that you guys have built actual apps that are genuinely helpful. So I love the name. I think it's great. I saw Chris on Discord as people were trying to get him to convince the name, be like, it makes us laugh. Well, it makes me laugh too. And I am a proud owner of some butt.
Yeah, exactly. We were saying, I think Chris and I were saying, isn't like the failure rate for startups like 90% plus? So we're not going to get all serious and lame if there's such a high chance of failure. Like we might as well have 100% chance of laughter, and then we can kind of deal with the failure rate.
I love it. That is an awesome outlook. That's exactly how I went into my marriage.
Community Spotlight.
For this week's Community Spotlight, we'd like to thank Matthew T. His question was, what is a really cool and not terribly difficult application that you're surprised isn't already built on Secret Network?
This is actually a really tough question because there's so much stuff that I've started work on and I'm like, oh, this is an easy win. Can smash this out quick. And then halfway through, you just hit the delete button. Or I should say hit the archive button because there's so many considerations that you got to take. Like with blockchain, initially I was kind of like, oh, I'm so sick of using password managers and stuff where I know it's centralized and who knows what's going on or if the company goes bust. So I lose all my passwords. I'm like, oh, I should make a decentralized one. And then when you're doing that, you realize it's not a bad option, except one of the positives and also one of the risk factors of blockchain is that everything is permanent. So, I was like nearly done with this password manager. And then I realized, do I really want all my passwords permanently on a blockchain forever? And I scrapped it. So it's a really tough question because so many obvious things actually become not a good use case for blockchain at all. The one that I am working on now, Block Locker, I think it's probably one that lots of people have thought about, but we've had to design it a specific way and we'll have to give us specific instructions for that same reason. So lots of people have come up with the idea of storing private data on Secret Network, and then it just hasn't been done. And I reckon it's because they've hit the same problem or realization that I have partway through it, which is, do I really want this to be online forever? We've kind of come up with like a bit of a different use case and solution for that. To answer in a long-winded way, storage. on the blockchain.
Very cool. And thank you, Matthew T, for that question. And you will win 5 secret. And if you prove that we are your top node delegation, the Secret Code podcast node, then it will be doubled for 10. So we're actually giving away quite a bit of secret because we made those numbers before the price went way up. And as it goes a lot higher, then good for all you guys for taking our money. But no, thank you. That's a really good answer. And you bring up a great point about the kind of the dark side of the fact that blockchains truly are immutable and will last forever. I mean, we all talk about the future of blockchain, how it gets rid of the banks, and we downplay how bad people will use Bitcoin too, and how it has been used for nefarious things, which all types of money have been. But part of the immutability of blockchain is while it was used exclusively underground, like there's child porn and other terrible things that are on the Bitcoin blockchain and always will be because they can't be taken down because it's a blockchain. What does make it powerful and what does make it groundbreaking can be used for nefarious purposes. And that is an important consideration where even though Secret Network does make things private, if something ever was to happen where somebody got a viewing key or there was an issue with a trusted enclave sometime in the future, or there's a migration or something eventually happens, we can't take that data back. Mm-hmm. So yeah, especially with things like passwords, that's something you need to be careful about.
The other important point too, I think that you covered is that it's not trivial, and that many developers or even just regular people that are looking from the outside in may think that some of these apps that could be built quite easily. But once you obviously start to get into the details, you start to realize just how complicated things can get pretty fast. And so for anyone that's also looking to build on Secret, I recommend going into the Discord server and talking to developers and fleshing out ideas and making sure that they're really on the right track, and that, because again, even I think when I had an idea, I thought it was pretty simple to implement. And I had talked to Badrick, who's one of the seasoned veteran developers on the network, and talking to him quickly about it, I just saw how quickly it cascades into just, again, more complicated, not as trivial as you may think.
Definitely. Badrick's great. Badrick and Reuven have helped me heaps. Yeah, just like learning and just talking through stuff. Really, when it comes down to those writing all those blockchain dApps and whatever, I just reckon everyone just needs to have like a poster on the wall that kind of, has those main features. Really focus like the decentralized aspect, the immutability aspect, and kind of focus on those.
All right, brother. So go ahead and start talking to me about BlockLocker. What is it?
So again, this started ages ago, and I started working on this as one of the first projects. Like, this is one of those simple things I reckon everyone's like, yeah, I can do this. And then you put it on the shelf because you realize, you've got this immutability aspect that you're not comfortable with. But something happened 3 weeks ago where one of my friends, I got her to buy into Secret Network ages back, and then she's moved houses, her hard drive has died, and then she's lost the notebook she's also made a second saving of the keys on. So she's sitting on like a few $1,000s worth of Secret that she can't access. And she was obviously pretty upset about it. And then she said that her friend, she didn't want to become like a friend who had bought Bitcoin years back when it was like a few dollars, and then had lost it, and now it'd be worth, like an apartment's worth in Australia, which is quite expensive here. So I was thinking, this is like a real problem for a lot of people. When you're trying to get friends and family into it, you get them to do it, and they're like, yeah, all right, I'll go in for a little bit. And so you can't really go, okay, now that you've done that, can you go buy a Trezor T and then one of these little steel seed phrase keepers only cost you a few $100s. It'll never happen. So otherwise they'll write on a piece of paper and lose it, or take a photo and put it on their phone and get hacked or something. So I decided on making this dApp where you store a text that's directly associated to your account, and so it'll be stored there privately, although we still recommend encrypting it first before storing it, just as like that double security. And when you do that, you can also add up to 3 whitelisted addresses. Those addresses don't need to know about whether they have access or not, but if you do lose your wallet keys or something, you can call up your friend and say, hey, I as like a whitelisted address for my account, can you get the details back for me? And they have to send a I think we're going to make it one BUT to get those details back. So like a BUT to store it, a BUT to edit it, and a BUT to retrieve it. It's really the safest way to do it, because even with the viewing keys, it's, if someone does access it, that info is forever available. But whereas if someone needs to send a transaction to get the details back, it means that they have had to crack that person's seed phrase. Before they get your details, they would have already taken your friend's seed details. So it's really the highest level of security in terms of that aspect. And that way, someone new can come along, set up their account, buy some secret or whatever, encrypt their seed phrase. Like, we'll provide some options on that. Store it up on the blockchain where it can never be changed or lost. And then, if necessary, they can ask their friend to grab those details for them in the worst case scenario. And then after that, you would get that person go, hey, you know what? Now that your friends know that there's this encrypted version of the key, move all your funds to a different wallet, and that's the end of it. Like, who cares if they know the codes for an empty wallet?
That's awesome. That's actually a super neat use case that can absolutely be done and would immediately be useful and bring utility to that BUT. So I love it.
Well, for the whole secret network, I think it's you can't do that really. You can't really do that with any other blockchain right now. So, instead of everyone buying a $300, $200 Trezor, you can just spend a few dollars on the secret network and store your key there, and that's done. And you know it'll be there forever as long as the secret network's up. And it'll cost you maybe $10. I don't know.
About 1 week ago, I just finally forked out, $100 for one of those seal things to protect your seed phrase type thing. So now I regret it.
No, you always want backups, and I'm sure you'll have like a million wallets eventually, anyway. So you want some like backup plans.
That's awesome. That's actually a really cool idea. So you guys build on Secret Network, obviously, but I saw on your website you guys also build on Near.
We got some funding from Near to build a smart contract interface for them as well. But I haven't really done too much on Near, but I'm keen to have a look more into it, just purely because I learned how to code on, I don't know if he's the CEO of Near or if he's what his exact title is, but he seems to be running the operations there now. He's like a US guy. His name's also Eric Troutman. He used to run Viking Code School, I think in San Francisco or something. And I did his online boot camp to learn Ruby on Rails. And then I got like an email from Near, and he was like on the letterhead. So I was like, man, this is kind of like destiny, fate. So I reached out, got the funding for that smart contract interface, and they do a lot of neat stuff, and you can tell they're going like full on. So I wouldn't mind looking more into it and developing some dApps on there too.
Awesome. Well, we're going to need a Near bridge then, so we could get your butt over there as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So can you walk me through some of the other applications you've built? Your website for listeners who are like, what is this button group? What is this butt coin they're talking about? Their website is btn.group. Gorgeous website. It goes over some of the applications they already have built, live, ready, yield optimizers, Mount Doom, and I haven't even seen anything there yet about Block Locker, so you must be waiting until it's ready. But it's a great website, and the stuff that you've made does work, and it's stuff that I care about. So walk me through Mount Doom, and why is it better than just any random burn address?
So we built this, like this, this is just like a thing for the community, really. And we built it because it's kind of funny, because we had to, at one point, we had 100 million maximum circulating BUT that was going to be released over like a 4-year period or something. And we had all these time lock contracts. And then when all of these lockdowns and stuff were happening, I was just like, oh my God, all this crazy stuff's happening. I'm not doing any work. I'm going to be calling friends and family and figuring out what to do. And I stopped working on it for ages and ages. And a lot of the initial people that bought BUT were pretty concerned, understandably. Eventually, everyone was like, I think you've done as much as you can in terms of what's going on right now. You got to kind of get back to work, which I agree with as well. So we felt bad. So for the initial people that invested, so we took out like around 72 million tokens out of circulation. All of the team's 20% allocated funds is included in that. And because Bitcoin doesn't have a minting or a burning function, like we couldn't just burn them. Plus, we didn't really want to just burn them because we wanted, the whole point of blockchain is that so you can audit it. So we wanted to be able to send it to an account whenever, if we needed to, and it'd have a viewing key that anyone can look at the transactions for. So any developer with any token can say, hey, everyone, we're burning this many tokens. We've sent it to Mount Doom. Here's the viewing key. Here's the transactions. There you go. And you can just verify it. And you can't do that with any regular address for a SNP20 token because there's no viewing key for it.
Does it have viewing keys for other tokens already built in?
Well, it's got the one viewing key. All you got to do is go to the page, add the token address that you want to add, and the contract hash for that token address, and then just submit, and it'll set the viewing key for that token for this contract, and people can see every transaction related to that token for this contract.
Very cool. Yeah, with Prop 14 passing for CeFi governance, that enacted a buyback and burn that we haven't instituted yet, but that's the first official burn that's passed. And now the CeFi lottery should be rolling out in the next week or two, and that's also going to burn 1% of the CeFi that comes in. And I already have at least one more burn metric in store for CeFi, so that's part of what I'm trying to do, have some significant value capturing supply sinks involved in the CeFi token. I'm going to see if I can utilize Mount Doom for that.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm not too sure which version of the SNP20 they have because, they've done a few upgrades. So they may opt to use their own burning functionality, maybe. But I think it's easier just to send it to this because you only want to expose the transactions that you want to expose. And by sending it to this burn contract, the users won't be able to see any other transactions that are to do with that contract that you want to burn from. So I reckon this is the better, safer option for everyone.
It's got a great name.
Steven, could you talk about the yield optimizer? I saw that was pretty recently done, and I was wondering if you could walk through that little project that you had done.
Yeah, so pretty much every protocol with DeFi either has or will have like a yield optimizer. And what it does is, there's a couple of other contracts on there as well. One is we wanted to create utility for Bitcoin, and one was like a profit distribution smart contract. So people deposit BUT into that contract, and the 5% yield fees from the other Secret Swap Earn yield optimizer contracts goes to that contract to be divvied out. And then the second one is one where people add the BUT SRAPT Bitcoin LP token into that smart contract. So it incentivizes users to provide liquidity on Secret Swap by us providing the amount of Bitcoin left that's going to be distributed over the next year and a half. And then the other contract, the concept is you deposit the token that would go into the Earn contract on Secret Swap here. And this acts as like a community account. And so every time someone deposits or withdraws, the contract claims the CeFi. And, in the case of the CeFi staking contract, it'll reinvest that for everybody so that you earn compound interest. And for those other contracts, it would swap that CeFi into the LP token that's required and then reinvest it for people.
Very cool. And you've made it in a way that it still advantages Bitcoin holders?
The profit distributor is strictly set with CeFi. So it is paired to that in some way. So the more people use the yield optimizers, the more CeFi is earned to the BUT holders. And also the people need like an incentive to provide the LP between Wrap Bitcoin and BUT. So that's the only way to earn BUT through that. And then, we're going to go from there and see what happens.
Awesome. Well, I will look into that, and you can look into the viewing key.
Let's look into the viewing key.
The question isn't why do you have to make one on Secret Network? The question is why don't you everywhere else?
So our viewing key is our segment for our trivia question for our guests. It's supposed to have something to do with an area of secret network there they might not be publicly associated with. So your question today is, which action will not get you a Shade airdrop in the upcoming Shade airdrop for Shade and Silk? Is it A, staking with an exchange's validator? B, staking Luna? C, staking secret to a small validator with 0% commission? Or D, staking Atom?
You know what? I see so much talk about this on Luna. On Telegram, but it's usually in like a foreign language. But I'm fairly sure I've deciphered what people are talking about. So I think the answer is staking Luna doesn't earn you an airdrop.
That is incorrect.
No.
So Shade will be airdropped to stakers of the Secret token, Luna, and Atom. Stakers in all three ecosystems will qualify for a Luna airdrop. 32% of the airdrop will go to Luna, 32% to Atom, and 36% to stakers on Secret Network. Then C is also will qualify for an airdrop. They are trying to disincentivize people to stake towards validators that earn 0% commission. They don't find it sustainable, and they think that it is creating what they call a race to the bottom, that is not amply rewarding validators enough for their contributions. However, they are not penalizing small end validators who are just trying to build up their business a little bit, but more high end validators, particularly if you're in the top 25 in any of the ecosystems by number of delegations. So small delegators for 0% commission are okay, but you are not okay if you stake with an exchange's validator, such as Binance or Coinbase. So make sure you guys are all up to date. The snapshots for the Shade airdrop begin November 7th and end December 13th. And if you're not really sure what it takes to qualify, just delegate to the Secret Code podcast node. It'll work out.
What is it anyways? What is this Shade protocol?
I will link you our video on them, as they do all the time in their Telegram. No, it's super cool. It's very similar to Luna and Terra, but it exists on Secret Network. And instead of having so many other different tokens for everything in the ecosystem, they're going to have it all bundled in, governed by Shade. So they will have private tokenized, digitized stock assets like Tesla stock and whatnot you can trade for, and all will be algorithmically paired. The only way to get Shade after the airdrop is to burn other assets in. And then they'll keep a small section of the burn that will be governed by the Shade token as well, the treasury that they call Synthesis. And so for at least an original long term, all of that is going to be stakes in a smart contract that will automatically arbitrage, keeping Stilk, their other token, paired to $1. What is your long-term plan for Buttcoin?
Let's get down to the truth, human nature here, which is that pretty much no one's going to be happy with Button.Group unless they've turned a profit. So we're just going to keep building. We don't want to do a lot of just marketing ploys and stuff. So we're just going to keep building dApp, decentralized, have functionality, and hopefully just purely out of utility, people will hold Butt, use Butt, and also just know that, hey, these guys have been around for a while and they keep building new stuff, and I haven't been rug pulled yet. So maybe I'll get some more and keep using their gear. And that's really the long-term goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say when talking about tokenomics, there are only two steps. There's one is creating value and the other is capturing value. And if you have only one, no matter which one, you're going to fail. And so you've got a lot of the quote unquote shit coins right now that are just have these weird tokenomic metrics like, oh, well, it's going to cost you 10% of your token to sell it, so don't sell, like SafeMoon type stuff. And it's all value capture theoretical metrics, and they're not actually adding any value to capture. But then you've got stuff like, in my opinion, Ripple. Other people disagree with me, but where their company is inventing some really, really cool technology that will likely gain a lot of adoption. But in my opinion, it's not adequately captured by the XRP token, and the company themselves can completely succeed without the holders of their token actually getting anything from it. And that's something that I'm really concerned about working with CeFi and some of these other tokens is if you're creating value and you're not capturing it in any way, shape, or form, you're not doing right by your shareholders. So I really like the way you have set up your yield optimizer so that you're creating value. We need yield optimizers and nobody else has built one yet. You made a very good one and it's fully functional. but you weren't getting paid in CeFi, and you do have your own asset. And so you made sure, like, look, yeah, I'll build this for you guys, but it still has to advantage my community. And you did a great job of it. So I'm a fan. I'm using it.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And plus, you definitely, I think it does the ecosystem, like a service when there are lots of independent parties doing their own thing, just purely because, like, look at what happened with that API thing. I'd like to think that our conversations kind of lit the fire a little bit on getting that updated. It's just like a well-known human fact that competition is good. So if people on Secret Swap or Sienna or wherever look at Buttcoin and go, you know what, these guys, although comical and a little bit underfunded, they may be a threat, so we'll step up our game. And that's just how people in society as a whole do better.
Absolutely. I challenge the centrality enough that now they put me in power so I can do stuff with it. So. No, it's awesome. For people who are wondering about the APR APY thing, recently Stephen was tagged on the forums, which I always try to shout out, forum.scrt.network, where people can talk and have these better explicit or enumerated conversations about where the network should go, different proposals before things go to governance, so we can kind of gauge sentiment and have important conversations about where we're going to direct the decentralized ecosystem. And people challenged him on the numbers surrounding the APYs on his yield optimizers. And his whole thing was, look, like, I have it set to being based on what you guys report. And so since Secret Swap was reporting APY instead of APR, which was misleading, once we were able to switch to APR, which is something that we wanted to do, and in my opinion should have been done initially anyways, it automatically fixed the alleged problem with his yield optimizer, which was based on the data that we supplied.
I'm not having a go at any of those people as well. Like, I've been on that community for ages, and I know, like, just like in real life, nothing's black and white. Everyone's playing an intense game of 5D chess. So if that's the road that they had to go to get this stuff done, fantastic. I commend anyone that came out and said that my numbers were wrong, which got the conversation going to maybe getting a fix. I'm not taking credit for that. I'm just saying maybe that was all part of the formula. And I reckon everyone should go out there and challenge everything, just criticize away, demand figures and numbers, and things will get done.
I'm going to close this out in a little bit. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on about Button Group before I do?
I just want everyone to use that smart contract interface and audit everything, because I'm hearing so many stories from people about getting rug pulled and wrecked, and people message me and goes, please don't be a scam, and I've just been scammed and I've been scammed. And you really, you're like, my heart breaks for these people if they don't have much money. So, those tools are there for a reason. Use the block explorers. And you know what? That's a benefit for Button Group and Buttcoin, because we've built that in place so that you can verify that what we're saying is true, which I think increases our value. So please audit away.
Awesome. How can people first off get Buttcoin, and then how can they get involved with Button Group?
You can get Buttcoin through the website, and right now it's 1 CeFi per Butt, or it's available on Secret Swap to trade between. There's a Butt SRAPT Bitcoin trading pair, which you can get as well. So there's a bit of an arbitrage opportunity there. To get involved with Button Group, a few people have reached out, and really I've been offering everybody the same offer, which is, it's kind of like one of these like ancient story kind of offers where I'm not saying I'm some old raggedy king or something, or some old raggedy man, but you know how there's all those stories where some young warrior comes up to an old man and goes, I want to marry your daughter. And this old dude has seen it all, and he doesn't want to like waste his time. He's got a lot going on. So he just goes, you know what? I'll just give you a really hard challenge. Climb that mountain, bring back the blue flower, and you can join the team, sort of thing. So I just tell everyone, you know what? If you've got an idea, I'm willing to provide a page on Button.group. I'm willing to provide the hosting and everything, all free. I'll give you at least half an hour a day answering questions and reviewing your code and stuff. But you've got to build out the smart contract and the idea, and you have to take a Buttcoin as a utility for payment, which I think is a really good deal. and you get to keep all the profits from that smart contract. So, that's my offer for anyone.
All right. Thank you very much. And then how can people reach you personally? Are you on Twitter, Telegram?
Discord is probably the best way.
Do you have a handle ready, or do you want to set it later?
Well, no, if they just jump on the Button Doc Group Discord, you're going to find me in the admin section, and I'm pretty much always online. So,
all right. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for your time. It was an honor talking to you. It's been great looking into Button Group and the Buttcoin and seeing more added utility for the CeFi token and all the other stuff that you're building in the secret network. So I'm glad that you guys have your own team. More teams, the merrier. We're trying to keep this a decentralized ecosystem that is still growing with Drive, and you've been adding to that beautifully. So thank you for your time, and thanks for joining the show.
Hey, thanks for organizing this, guys. It's been swell, and great job.
Thank you for deciphering the secret code. For the community, by the community. New episodes every Sunday. Secret Sunday. Thanks for listening. Congratulations again to Matthew T., who upon proving we were his top delegation won 10 secret, over $50 this week for the Community Spotlight question. Going forward, we're going to be offering weekly rewards to random subscribers on our YouTube channel, so please like, comment, subscribe, and win your share. See you next week for a spooky Halloween episode.